Over the past year since I started making YouTube videos, I've gone through quite a number of lighting setups. These lights have been very important in terms of improving the image quality of the videos that I've been making. I'd say probably even more than that lens you're thinking of buying. I've been using a couple of continuous LED lights, mount them on light stands and use a big soft box. But last week I went to a trip with my family, my parents, my sisters, and so naturally I didn't want to bring my studio lights because one, it would just have been silly, and two, it's just too much of a hassle to bring all of this setup. Luckily, Phottix-Philippines sent this pocket-sized LED light panel. This is the Phottix M180, which they thought would be the perfect solution to my situation. Now, while they did send it over, they're not actually paying me to say anything, so as always, all of the things I'll be sharing with you will be completely based off of my experience with using the light and will be my opinion only. So welcome to 5 reasons why you need the Phottix M180. Let's start with the build quality. It's made of metal and it feels like holding a flagship phone. You've got 3 metal push buttons on the side that turns the power on and controls the temperature and power output. The buttons are firm and gives you good feedback to the touch, so you know you're actually pressing them. You also get 3 USB ports, a micro USB in, a USB-C in for charging, and a USB mini 5 volts for reverse charging, which we'll get into a little later. Next reason, the Phottix M180 is a pocket light that's really pocketable. It's approximately around 150 by 80 by 10 millimeters thick, making it almost exactly the same size as my iPhone 10, which means it's gonna be super easy to pack it in any of your bags because it doesn't really take up space and it doesn't add any additional weight at all. And for someone who does a lot of traveling, being able to pack as light and as efficiently as possible is gonna be a big deal. When buying a light, the most important feature you'll want to look at is, of course, the quality of light that it gives. How accurate is the color rendition and how bright does it go? CRI, or color rendering index, is a measurement of light in relation to how it affects color. Looking at this chart, you'll see that you'll obviously want to get lights that are from the 90 to 100 range to get excellent color rendering. The main light I use for my talking head videos like this one is a Godox SL60W, which has a CRI of 95 plus. The M180, however, comes in at an even higher 96 plus, which is both surprising and amazing, especially for such a small form factor. This meant that I was gonna get excellent color rendition from just this small light, even without bringing my big studio lights like this one. So I did a short and quick video test using the M180 in the hotel room that I was staying in, and this was how it went. This currently is at just 5% setting at 5,600 Kelvin. By the way, this light also boasts a color temperature of 3200 all the way up to 5600 if I'm not mistaken, which means it covers the warm white spectrum all the way to daylight. The next thing I really like about the Phottix M180 is the fact that it has this display LCD panel at the back, which I didn't really think was going to be useful, especially since I was coming off of a couple of cheap LED lights that didn't have this. But after using it, I found that this was actually very, very useful. It displays the color temperature you're using, the amount of power the light is giving, and most importantly, how much battery the light still has. Speaking of battery power, since you're going portable, you're probably gonna want to know how long the battery lasts. At 5%, the display is going to show you that it will last over 8 hours. And at 100%, it will show you that it will last a little over an hour. Over the 4-day trip that we took, I was only really able to use 9% out of a total full charge. But I think that was only because I wasn't really using it all throughout the day or all throughout the 4 days. I used it for that video test that we did and a few videos that I took. I was mostly out during the day anyway, so I really can't comment on how accurate the meter reading is going to be, but you will be happy to know that there is a micro USB in and USB-C in, which means you can plug it directly to a power source and use it even while it's charging. An interesting quirk about this light is that it's also a power bank. During the first day of our trip, my wife suddenly was in need of a power bank because she had left our power bank at home. And so it actually came in pretty handy. She was able to charge her phone while we were walking around at the beach. Now, as great as this light is, I think there are a few minor things which could have made it even better. One would have been the addition of a few different lighting effects to simulate different lighting scenarios, like maybe a lightning or strobe effect. I'm not really sure if Phottix has that feature in their other lights, but it would have been really nice to have that in this pocket and light. The more minor thing would have been maybe a rubber pad on the 1/4 inch hole at the bottom of the light. I noticed, especially since this was a review unit, there are scratches at the bottom, and for someone who likes to keep their gear free from scratches and looking as new as possible for as long as possible, this is kind of an itch in the brain. So it's a minor thing. It's not, it doesn't really affect the performance of the light, but it would have been nice to have so that you don't see these scratches. Overall, I'm really impressed with the M180. It's small, it's got lots of power, it's really bright, and most importantly, it's got great color rendition. It is, however, priced almost similarly to my studio lights here, which is a Godox SL60W. But I do understand because you're kind of paying a premium for portability. I mean, you wouldn't really want to bring studio lights, softboxes, light stands to a family trip. I'm not saying that this is going to be replacing my studio lights anytime soon, because I do think that a giant softbox, a big studio light, is always going to produce a better and softer result. But imagine having something this small that produces somewhat of a similar output to what we have here without the hassle of wires and bringing all the other stuff that comes with a studio light setup. It's like having a very powerful key light everywhere you go. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this light. Do you think it's something useful? Do you have any questions about it? Leave them down in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Don't forget to check out the Facebook page of Phottix-Philippines to see more of the products that they offer. Links will be down in the description box too. Once again, I'd like to say thank you to Phottix-Philippines for sending this light over for testing and review. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And as always, thanks for watching. Yeah, so this is 100% setting, 100% on the Phottix M180. And I guess I'll play around with the file later on in post and to see whether or not 100% will work better than the 40% for me, for the way I want my videos to look like. But yeah, that's how much of a difference this small light makes.